obsessed.
Returns to the dead.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Class 14 Certified Public Managers graduation. We wish to welcome the graduates, their supervisors, and their agency directors. I would also like to recognize anybody in the audience that is a past graduate or current participant in the CPM program. If we have any of those in the audience, if you could please stand. Thank you. Thank you. I also am a past participant in the CPM program. I was in the inaugural class of the CPM program. I guess it's been 14 years. I didn't realize it had been that long. The CPM program was started by a group of agency directors that were looking for quality training programs for managers. Mike Wilden, the governor's chief of staff, was instrumental in starting this program. It's still going strong 14 years later. It really is a flagship training program for the state. It's the most rigorous training program we have for managers. It is not easy. Those who've been through it and the graduates can attest of all the hard work over about a year that goes into being successful in this program. It really says a lot about people that have been selected for the program. They're really the next generation leadership for state government, and they were chosen by their leadership for their skills and aptitude. It is such a rigorous program that I didn't complete it. I actually was the inaugural dropout of the CPM program. So everybody up here today has bested me. I can tell you in that first class, I was in that class. Richard Whitley was in that class. He's Director of Health and Human Services. He also dropped out of the class. And Peter Long, the administrator for Human Resource Management, was also in that class, as were others. And I guess it says a lot to what you learn in the class that Richard and I could both be dropouts and we're directors today. So just imagine how far you all can go with actually graduating. So congratulations. Yeah, you know, there was a comment when we were doing the rehearsal this morning that never switch jobs during CPM, and that's what happened to Richard and I. So I would take that to heart to anybody considering undertaking this rigorous program. But my time in the program was very well spent. I learned a lot. I think one of the useful things that I learned was the Myers-Briggs Personality Index really gave me a lot of insight into people's different personality types and made me a much better communicator. I realize not everybody on the planet thinks the same way I do, which was kind of a revelation. So I've really learned to craft my message to people based on their personality types and where they're at. And I know that, if nothing else, helped me a lot. I want to give special thanks to the agency directors for sending their best and brightest to this program. I know it's a big sacrifice for the program to have people dedicate so much time to this, but we're very confident that their investment is already paying dividends. I also wish to thank the family members of the participants who put up with a lot of extra work at home. And a lot of sacrifice out of their personal lives, and we thank you for that. Your support has been essential. I also wish to thank Rebecca Kennard, Bill Kinson, and Jennifer Herrera from Division of Human Resource Management for staffing this wonderful program. I especially wish to thank Governor Sandoval. Governor Sandoval has had a strong commitment during his 8 years of administration, almost 8 years, of commitment to state employees. Workforce development has been a key initiative for his administration, and he knows the importance of training, and he has been a very strong supporter of this program during his administration, and we thank him very much for that. And with that, I would like to introduce Governor Brian Sandoval.
Good afternoon, everybody. Congratulations, welcome. Really exciting day, and Patrick didn't mention this graduation is being streamed worldwide, so you are global now as well, and it's pretty great, isn't it? No, and I was thinking about it as I listened to Patrick before I get into my formal remarks, is, you know, we've spent a lot of time in this room restoring this, and this is a very historical room. This is the original assembly chambers, and there were a lot of bills and a lot of policy and a lot of laws that were made in this room, a lot of history that was made in this room, including the passage of the bill that legalized gaming in the great state of Nevada happened right here. But as I thought about all the history that has been made here, I also thought the type of, or the more history that is going to be made by our graduates. It's really, truly exciting. And Patrick also mentioned, you know, it's been 8 years almost for me, and it's a little bittersweet for me to be here today because it will be my final graduation that I'll have the opportunity to speak at. And it really has been a privilege to serve as your governor. And it really makes me proud to attend events like these. And Patrick mentioned that he was a dropout. Just in case no one heard that the first time. But I almost lost my train of thought. But in any event, you know, it reminded me of a story about my kids, and they were giving me a hard time because you said even a dropout can become, you know, the head of one of our agencies. Well, my kids called me a goober, and I said, you know what? Even goobers can become governors, so be careful. So anybody is capable of anything. But again, it really is an honor to be here and to share this day with all of you, the 14th class. And if you do the math in that, and approximately 30 graduates or attendees from each class, it really does have a massive ripple effect throughout state government. And it really is nice to see all the family members. Patrick and I were just talking about how many family members are here, coworkers are here, very proud people who understand the sacrifices that were made by everyone in this class to make it here today. And I think it really does illustrate and highlight the importance of this and the gravity of it all for the hard work that you've done. And I do appreciate your dedication to public service. This program really does represent the best of who we are and what we do in state government. And you know, I think about the commitment of our state workers throughout all state government, throughout the great state of Nevada. And it really was a commitment on your part to take your service a step further. And I know that you have your regular work day, and then you have to go on and do the work that's associated with this program. It meant being away from your friends and family, but it really was, and I think again it speaks to all of your character, you saw this as a professional development opportunity that will greatly benefit the people of the state of Nevada. And that's what it comes down to. I know you all love this state as much as I do. Maybe you do. I mean, I love Nevada. And for all of you to do this so that you can better serve, because that's what we all are, public servants. And that sometimes we just say that and we forget what the meaning of that is. So today we have 31 graduates that represent 12 state agencies and 1 school district. 9 graduates in the southern cohort, 22 graduates in the northern cohort. I don't know how that happened, so that was a question that I had, but in any event, you know, the state has invested almost $1 million in this program and has realized a return of $36 million in cost savings and revenue generation as a result of the projects that each class has brought. The capstone projects that were generated in this class are going to create more than $400,000 of savings, so that deserves a big hand. Please give me one. So each one of you logged hundreds of hours of classroom instruction, work-related projects, and written responses to required reading. So again, reaching this milestone was no easy day for any of you, and I truly appreciate your determination to see it through. You've earned the respect, my respect, of course, the respect of state leadership and deserve everyone's appreciation for a job well done. Now I'm going to go down memory lane a little bit because I gave a talk almost 7 years ago to my first opportunity to speak to the class, and the state was in a very different place. And the point I'm making is we've come a long way, but now you've got some extra responsibility. But just going back to 2011, we led the country in unemployment. Unemployment was over 14%. We had lost 175,000 jobs. Think about that for a second. We led the country in foreclosures and unemployment. We led the country in the number, a number of people without health insurance. And we were worst in the country in high school graduation rate. I mean, it really was a place that our state had never been. And I like to bring this up because I know all of you know this. Maybe some of you out in the audience don't know this, but there were some pretty significant cuts, and there were some of the most difficult decisions that I had to make with regard to our state budget. And that included furloughs, 12 days of furloughs, salary reductions. It meant no step increases. And so it just goes again to the amount of sacrifice that was made. But just going to throw a few numbers at you because these were numbers that were presented to me in the not too distant past. But we lost those 175,000 jobs. We've replaced in 7 years that with 250,000 new jobs. That's very exciting. We've reduced the unemployment rate from 14% to 4.9%, and in fact, it would be lower, but we are the fastest growing state in the United States of America, so there are as many people moving to our state and taking all those new jobs that are being created, or it would be significantly lower. Right now, there are, as of February 2018, employment in Nevada is 1,370,900. That's the most in history. Think about that for a second. In February 2018 alone, we added 6,600 jobs in 1 month. So that gain built on January 2018 gains, and in 2 months, Nevada added 11,000 jobs. I mean, Clark County is the fastest growing metro area in the United States of America. So you start to put all that in perspective. I think we've had 90 months consecutive of economic growth in the state of Nevada, and we've exceeded the national rate by over 60 months. So with all that growth comes new challenges, and you probably know that with everything that's happened and the services that we need to provide the individuals, the men, women, and children who come to Nevada. Each day, there are questions that have to be answered. Every day, you ponder those questions, you provide answers, and you provide expertise. So I like to compare you to the pioneers who came to Nevada and helped build Nevada, because you have to continue to push onward. You have to look at the horizon that I talked about during my State of the State speech and anticipate what's going to happen along the way. So in undertaking the CPM process, you embodied the vision that was set out before you and rose to the challenges to strengthen the foundation of the state we love. So I guess I'm going to close with this, because you've done all this and you should be proud of this, but you know, the responsibility doesn't stop there, because when you go back to your respective agencies, when you go back to your offices, people look up to you. Whether you realize it or not, they look up to you. And you set an example for you and for them. And you see, or they look to you for inspiration. And they're the ones that are going to take that cue, and they're the next generation that comes after you. You're the new role models. You're the ones who establish a lasting legacy of leadership, vision, and courage. It's a big responsibility. It really is. And I think you do understand and appreciate that, or else you wouldn't be here in the first place. So I know I wake up every day looking forward to going to work. I really do. Because public service, you will have your careers, but I don't know if there's another job on the planet where every day you get to go to work and make a difference in somebody's life. I mean, just think about that for a moment. And the day will come, and I remind my staff of this, and I remind myself of this, is that our public service will be over. And sometimes this becomes routine and we go to work. But we have to remind ourselves that there are people in this audience, there are people that are watching, there are people that rely on us to give it our very best, and that we've made a difference in their lives. And when you sit and you have that quiet moment many years from now after you retire, maybe only a few years from now, you will have the sense of satisfaction that you did make somebody's life better because of what you've done and because you've participated in this program. So ladies and gentlemen, this is an incredible group of people, and you wouldn't be here if they weren't. And you really should be proud of this moment and the work that they've done and the work that they will do. So with that, I truly appreciate the honor to be able to speak and share this moment with all of you today. God bless you, and God bless the great state of Nevada. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you very much for that. I would now like to introduce the class speakers. We have two class speakers, one from the northern class and one from the southern class. These speakers were selected by their own classmates to represent their class. So first up, I would like to invite April Karen up from Health and Human Services.
Thank you, Governor, for being here today to help us celebrate this amazing accomplishment. And thank you all for coming to celebrate with us. I am very honored to be standing up here today representing my class for Northern Nevada. This is a wonderful group of peers whom I'll always admire and never forget. I was born and raised in Nevada. I love this state and all that it represents. Some fun trivia. Levi's blue jeans were invented by a Reno-based tailor named Jacob Davis. It is illegal to ride a camel on any highway in the state of Nevada. And there is an estimated 100 miles of total underground shafts and tunnels on the Comstock. Seriously though, Nevada would not be the state that it is today without strong leaders willing to fight to preserve what some may call the American dream. Whether you're an employee of the state, a miner, a rancher, an engineer, or an innovator, the opportunities are abundant and innovation is prevalent. We've action and guidance throughout the program. And to acknowledge both Ruth Hollenbeck and TJ Brown, who are not here today, but managed to keep us inspired and entertained while guiding us through the first 3 levels of the program. As a group, for the past several months, we grew, we pushed, we laughed, and some made. CPM is not for the faint of heart. During this program, we were presented with challenges, both personal and professional. There were sacrifices made, not only by us, but by our families and support groups who held down the fort at home while we stayed in class. So thank you for contributing to our success. I would also like to acknowledge our staff back at the office who took on the extra work that we couldn't get done while we were in class, our mentors for seeing our potential and for helping us grow, and our directors and our administrators for allowing this opportunity. Simon Sinek said, "Leadership is about integrity, honesty, and accountability, all components of trust. A leader must be inspired by the people before a leader can inspire the people. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, and do more, you are a leader. The world needs leaders who can think beyond problems, who are visionaries, and who inspire people to transform challenges into opportunities one small step at a time. When I look to this crowd sitting here today, I see a group of designers, troubleshooters, facilitators, and stabilizers, a team of leaders who shine with vision and inspiration, and the opportunities I know for you are endless." With that, I'll close simply by saying, a great leader has courage, tenacity, and patience. Speak less and listen more. And remember that outstanding leaders inspire action. Thank you.
Thank you, April. Now I'd like to invite our second speaker, Brian Scroggins from the State Public Charter School Authority.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I first of all would like to thank the governor. I've run for office twice but never been elected, and it's sometimes difficult to be an elected official, I would assume. In the movie King Ralph, Sir Cedric says, "It is far easier to whisper advice from behind the scenes rather than risk its merit at the point of attack." As the Deputy Director for the State Public Charter School Authority, I know that the governor has put tremendous effort into improving education. I know that he works well with veterans, he's supported business, and so I really appreciate all that he has done while risking the merits that he has done at the point of attack. So thank you, Governor. Also, Governor, as you know, CPM is a worthwhile program, and I thank you for supporting it. My thanks to Rebecca Kennard and the Human Resource Management team. My thanks to Patrick Gavin, who's the director of the State Public Charter School Authority. He is one who encourages professional development and personal growth. And my thanks to my class. I enjoy networking, and through the CPM program, I now have a whole new group of advisors statewide. I came to public sector employment kind of by a different route. I owned and operated my own business for 20 years before retiring the first time. During that period, I served on a town advisory board, and then I was appointed by Governor Gwynn to serve on the Nevada State Contractors Board, then appointed by Governor Gibbons to serve on the Nevada Nuclear Projects Commission, and served there until 2011 when I was hired to be the commissioner of the Employee Management Relations Board, or EMRB, for the state. In that capacity, I was able to work with cities and counties, police and fire and sheriff's departments, and school districts and unions, and attorneys on labor relations issues. I've been deputy director now for 2 years, and who knows what the future holds. We have an election this year, as was mentioned, and at-will employees always seem to sweat a little bit during election years. I'd like to talk to the managers and directors here today. My classmates, your employees, have a new collection of management skills. How will you utilize those skills? Will it be business as usual or the dawn of a new agency improvement era? I've been involved in government for about 20 years on both sides of the board table as a board member and as support staff for board now. I've known a lot of great state administrators, but over the years I've known some that probably needed to develop their emotional intelligence skills just a little bit. Remember the old saying, be careful how you treat people on the way up because you'll see those same people on the way back down. While commissioner of the EMRB, I had a moment to talk with a county employee. She was pleasant but not as engaged as I had assumed that she would be. I found out that when she had started some 20 years prior, she had lots of ideas and suggestions, but was told by her manager, "You are not paid to have ideas," and she was simply waiting out her time until retirement. I knew one director who took little or no interest in his employees. He spent no time with them except to criticize. Whenever they tried to talk about issues, he was not interested. And one by one, a number of good state employees left. Had they been given just a little consideration and guidance, they could have been effective leaders in the state. Now let's talk about some good examples. When I was appointed to the Nevada State Contractors Board, Margie Green was the executive director, and she still is today. Margie does a great job at working with and training employees. She also did a great job of making board members look good, and I learned a lot from Margie. As the new commissioner of the Employee Management Relations Board, I found out that I had a good director named Terry Johnson, now Member Johnson of the Gaming Control Board. I asked a lot of questions. When I saw something I thought was not quite right, I asked more questions. And when Director Johnson left business and industry for the Gaming Control Board, the last thing he said to me was, "Brian, keep asking questions." So I think he was a great example. In conclusion, I've been around a long time. A lot of the leadership principles presented in the CPM program I've heard numerous times before, but this time I learned them through the eyes of my classmates who always had a fresh perspective. I didn't realize, these skills teach you how to deal with different people under various and sometimes stressful situations. I didn't realize how handy these skills would come in immediately. In the early morning of October 2nd, 2007, I received a call from the emergency manager of the city of Las Vegas asking me to come down and be a part of the incident command team and oversee spiritual care efforts for the victims and families of the 1 October shooting. So with some concepts I had relearned, a compassionate director, and the governor's declaration of an emergency, I was able to go down as a state resource and help people. Our final CPM project had to, at least in part, be about creating value for the state. Now, directors and managers, you now have these fresh new CPM graduates. How will you create value for the state? Thank you.
Okay, now we will present certificates.
Call the names and I'll hand him the certificate.
Okay. Amadou Ba. I just want to be on microphone. Online. Gail Bolander. April Karen. Kristen Defer. Robert Forderhays. Morgan Friend. Kendra Furlong. Kimberly Gaw. Catherine Hamlin. John Henley. Jessica Hoban. Tamara Jackson. Janelle Keith. Ken Mammon. Catherine Mellon. Seville Monji. Dennis Pinkerton. Laura Rich. Luke Rippey. Jonathan Wilson. And David Wright. So that is the Carson City cohort. We'll now turn to the Las Vegas cohort. Not that the North is better than the South, it just kind of, somebody had to go first. Alphabetical, that's right. Julie Donnelly. Daryl Harris. Charles Hops. Jared Langendorf. Christy Marusic. Diane Presson. Lisa Ray. and Brian Scroggins. We also want to acknowledge Joy Grimmer of the Northern Cohort and Joseph Schall of the Southern Cohort. They both graduated, but were not able to attend today. I would now like to ask all the graduates to please stand. Ladies and gentlemen, Governor, I present to you the 2018 Nevada Certified Public Managers.